Well, hello and welcome to Race Country Cottage, our Thai house build. Week 15. And we've had a whole week without rain. It's been great for the contractors. They can get on with stuff and didn't have to stop at all. So full days from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. What do we get up to this week? So the non-shrink concrete grout team were here for a few days to fill in on top of each column under the metal roof plates. The render bead team was here, continuing to put the render beads on the corners of all doors and windows and columns. And the big outcome was the roof, which you can see here behind me. The roofing team from Monday to Friday managed to get it all up. They'll be back next week to finish off a little bit of the work in terms of the gables, and then put on the ColorBond metal roof on the porch and the carport. Anyway, thanks. There's been some new subscribers this week and lots of views, so thanks everybody for taking the time to check out our build. So join me for an update on what's occurred this week. Cheers. So this week we started off on Monday with a site survey with a contractor for CCTV, Cat6 internet cabling, and installation of air conditioning. Some things need to be done before the house is closed up, so that's why the builder brought this contractor in to do the survey and then offer us a quote, which we're waiting for. The other team that arrived on Monday was the non-shrink concrete grout team to mix up this mortar mix, which is a very watery mix that they then pour into formwork they've created around the top of the column just to underneath of the sill plate. You can see from the video, with the mortar mixed up, they use a small scoop to pour the mortar into the framework. So it's very liquid in nature. You only can pour a small amount at a time. As you can see here, it's got it in his scoop and then pouring it into the formwork. So some 30 columns to do. It's slow and tedious work to work the way around the house. It took them till about Wednesday, I think, to finish the job. Here you can see the formwork at the top of some of the columns that have been poured. And they let it set for a day and then they can take the formwork off, and this is what it looks like. So it's non-shrink grout. It's a special mixture used for this purpose. So the render edge bead team were back at the house this week. Continuing to install these beads on the windows and doors and any straight edges around columns. So you can see there's string lines installed. I think they're 1 and 1.25 centimeters off the brick to allow for rendering on both sides of the wall. So with the 7.5 inch brick, and then the rendering brings it to a 10 centimeter wall. So very exacting, detailed work, as you can see here. This gentleman's been at it for over 30 years, and you can see the way he works. He knows what he's doing and very precise. Very, very confident in what he does. Concentration. So we'll leave him and move on to the roof. So the highlight of the week and the main focus was the roof tiles going up. So we had the CPAC Smooth Cool Teak Brown tiles delivered. There was 11 pallets. You can see here some details about them. They're 4 kilos each, heavy, and they reflect 2 times better than the older tiles. It's a special pigment, drain water better, and they're smoother than their counterparts. Certainly different than the ones we had. So 3,750 tiles needed at 4 kilos each. That means there's 15,000 kilograms, or about 6.5 US tons of tile on the roof. So how heavy is that? Absolutely astounding. You can see why the frame needs to be substantial to hold this up. So you can see they manually, tile at a time, move it from the pallet to the guy standing on the porch, up to the guy up on the roof who moves it, and they stack it in piles. Once the tiles are up there, the first thing that they do is put in eave fillers along the fascia board. So the tile sits in that, and the groove is then protected from any animals getting in. You can see here the filler in this guy's hand, and he lays it down inside the fascia board. And it's fastened. You can just see them strung out across the fascia board here in the video. So once they're down, the tiling starts. You can see a few rows of tiles are up, along with the ProFast Foilex that they put down. So this is 1.25 grams, quite heavy. It's a UV reflective foil to help the tile reflect UV light, creating heat inside the roof space. So just some details there. It's not an insulator as such, it's just to help reflect the UV off. The roof space will always be an ambient temperature, but try to keep it lower by both the reflective tiles and the Foilex. The ceiling will have insulation, so that'll be the main barrier of the heat from the roof into the house. So here you see the boys manually up there going about their task of rolling out this foil. So they put a roll of foil out, and then the tiles are laid down, and the tiles lock into each other. And the purlins that they're attached to, have been measured out to ensure that they fit correctly, so that the holes in the tile can be drilled directly into the purlins. The screws, rather, can be drilled directly into the purlins. So here you can see the boys with their drill screwing in the tiles. So we had a lot of discussion with the builder about the tiles. They wanted to drill in every second one, but we had experience from windstorms in Chiang Mai that when all the tiles aren't down, they can blow off. So we insisted that every tile be screwed into the purlins. It can be a problem if you need to take the tiles up to do some work, but safer than sorry by having it done this way. So the roofer carries the screws in his cuff of his pants and just moves along and screws each one in. Guys seem very competent. Well, I mean, I'm no roofer, but they seem very competent in terms of their work and what they were doing. The boss is on the ground looking up all the time, oversighting them and what they're doing, and barking out directions if he's not happy with any of the progress. So the video is a bit long today. It's a lot about the roofing, and it's kind of covering the whole thing. Obviously if you're bored with roofing, you can skip through to the end, but here are the self-tapping screws they use to fasten the tile down. So this is the south side of the house, and I think as of Monday they had finished the one side of the roof on the house. And that's an underside shot of what it looks like with the foil underneath. Here the roofing team are moving tiles onto the back of the house, the west-facing side of the house, and starting to install the metal guttering that runs up where the two roofing sections meet. And obviously they can't tile over this, so they have to have a rain gutter that they place in to catch the rain that runs off and move it down. So they have to position these in the exact location. They've put the Foilex underneath, as you can see.
Would they move?
And just starting to fasten it in place. So they work away at this for a while just to get it exactly. You can see the team is then still hand lifting tiles up onto the roof, piling them up in preparation for laying them down. And here's the boys working on this guttering system, looking up from the floor of the house to the open ceiling. So you have to balance on the purlins, so there's not a lot of place to put your feet. The next step was to lay out the eave fillers, as you saw earlier. They had to do it on this section as well, like they did on the other side. This guy's going along, just laying them out against the fascia board. And once he's got them laid out, there's another guy with a drill, and he's busy drilling them into the fascia board at the right locations that they've marked out on the board to line up with the tiles. So I said these eave fillers, just because the tile is wavy, there's a hole under some of them as they go along the ridge, and it just keeps bugs and other things from being able to get up inside. And here's drone images of the boys working on the roof, sorting out the tiles. I'll just let this play out and you can have a look at what they're up to. So here they are rolling out the ProFast Foilex again on top of the purlins. Now apparently there's an option according to the manufacturer's instructions to lay it either under the purlins or on top. We discussed this with the roofing contractor, but he will only lay it on top. That's their practice. Probably better if there's a bit of space underneath, but anyway, the purpose of it is to reflect UV, so this is what they do normally, so we'll go with the flow. Life's easier in Thailand when you go with the flow. So they simply roll it out in these sheets, as you can see, and then the tiles go on top of it. They overlap on the way down. So the tiles have been laid out, now he's going along screwing them down, securing them to the purlins. It's kind of rinse and repeat job, same thing all the way along. But once the tiles get up on the roof, they're set down fairly quickly and screwed down, so things move at a good pace. And here you can see in this shot the underside of the purlin where the tile is screwed in the middle of the purlin, so just to show how it's fastened down. And just another drone image of the team working on the roof, getting the tiles up there and some of them laying them down. So just so you can see how the process works if you're looking to do this type of roof in your house. So I'll just let this drone image play out. And here's just some footage at the front of the house. The house is facing east, and the chain gang process of getting tiles up to the roof. There's the boss at the front with the blue and the hat on, taking the tile. The guy standing up above and passing them up, and they just do this until they're all up there. Slow and tedious job, but just one of those things, you know. Just keep going, and eventually thousands of tiles end up on top of the roof. And just back again to the back, just some imagery of them working their way up the back of the roof, the west-facing roof. And then they're doing the side, this north-facing bit of roof. All happening. Then the build site's got a mascot. I don't know, he's a local dog, comes from somebody, but he spends all his time, he sleeps on site, visits there all day, gets hands out, so I don't know whether we'll have to adopt him or what'll happen when this is all over. But quite friendly fella. Well, here it is, lunchtime on Wednesday. And they've got the back side of the roof pretty well up. And then the other side is done. So I think probably by tomorrow, it's tomorrow Thursday. Well, I think most of the tiles will be up Thursday, if not Friday. And then it'll just be working on the gable ends, and obviously the edges need to be done. The ridge beam needs to be done with the Drytech. So just really happy, come along quickly. And we've been lucky with the rain, so happy with that too. As long as it holds, maybe by the end of the week it'll look like a roof, mostly completed at least. Anyway, stay with us and see how we end up by the end of the week. Cheers. So here we are having a look from inside the house up through the steel work to the roof. You get a sense of how it's getting covered in. And they've also been continuing to paint any of the exposed steel that wasn't covered previously. So here they are working on the front of the house now. The other sides are done, and they're just trying to work their way up the top. Obviously where the gable is there, it's a bit more complex. They've got to put in the metal drain sheets. Just showing the angle there, the tiles come together quite neatly. So here you can see at the top they're working on putting in the metal sheets to drain the water where the roofing alignment is different. And this fella is just cutting the edge tiles to make them fit in. They're left rough until they get to this stage, and then they just cut them to fit. So that was the end of the day on Thursday, and this is Friday, the last day of the week. Just coming into the site by truck this time instead of walking over, been out somewhere. Coming in to see where they're at. So progressing pretty well, nearly at the peak. And there's a truck on site for some deliveries by the looks of it. Probably some pieces for the ridge and side pieces and finish off. Yeah, this is kind of the last supply of tiles for the ridge pieces and for the corners that need to be covered over once the Drytech system is applied, which we'll show you in a minute. Now the ground's nice and hard, so trucks have no problem accessing the site. When it's really wet, they can't come in this way. They have to come in by the driveway at the side. So they start working on the Drytech system. So this is a bitumen-based special glue thing that they put a metal post ridge beam down that's fastened to the rafters underneath, and then this is stuck over that into the tiles. It adheres tremendously to the tiles apparently, and then caps or tile caps are put over that. So they used to cement grout these in. They don't do that anymore. They use this dry tech system, and it's been in place for a number of years now. New to me, our previous house had cement grouting in tiles, but apparently this is far superior. I guess time will tell whether that's true or not. And just some final images of what the completed roof looks like. And a drone fly around. So next week you'll be hopefully finishing the gables off, putting in the vents and sheer wood to finish those off nicely, and do the metal roof on the porch at the back and the garage and storage area, using blue scope color bond for that. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. Thanks for joining me this week. I know it's been long and probably a bit boring about tiling, but hey, that's what it was, and that's what happened over the course of the week, so I thought I'd share it with you all. And look forward to catching up next weekend with what we got up to over the course of the week. So take care and look after yourselves. Cheers.